Good afternoon, everyone. 大家午安. Good evening, everybody. 大家晚安. My name is Heng. Today is Saturday, October 25th. We're here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. We're going to be investigating the life of our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud, with the picture biography. And I hope that's what you've all come to look for, because we are going to tell you some amazing stories today. So let's get underway. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times and invite you all to join me, if you care to do so, making 3 half bows from where you're sitting. And then we're going to, Chen Yu Jushi is going to request Dharma on your behalf. So let's get going. Here we go. 3 half bows. Yi Wenxun, 1 bow. Zai Wenxun, 2nd bow. San Wenxun, 3rd bow. Alrighty, Chen Yu, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭敬大德僧听，为此法会，济一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐。速证无生. Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao sambuddhoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao sambuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. Now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Alrighty, Chen Yu, thank you so much. Happy to accept. Let's see, I'll go through the rest of the protocols and then make announcements. We respectfully acknowledge the Kombu-Meri people of the Ugambe language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 那就是说，我们恭敬地承认与冈贝语族的孔布马里人，是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们现在的道场就在他们好几千年的他们的国家了。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere Fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万里中，共训其法界和平，利益报安乐厚德。Alrighty, well that does it for the protocols. Except to let everybody know that if you would like to listen to my English language lecture in Mandarin Chinese, 如果你们大家各位你们想听一种流利的翻译，就流利普通话翻译普通话，有办法，就是那个软件的右下角 interpretation， 你们看到了没有？那里就可以有 Chinese， 就可以听到了。Also, there is a Vietnamese translation provided by a kind-hearted volunteer. Go to the chat box and find the link for the Vietnamese translation, and there you'll find it. Also, if you would like to request Dharma, that's a very rare and special opportunity to plant blessings for wisdom in the future. Please send an email to Chen Yu, our fearless corresponding secretary. She will set you up and you can request Dharma in either language or both languages, ideally. Okay? So go to the chat box and you'll find it there. All right. Welcome everybody who has joined today. Let's see where we're all from. Amazing that I can be sitting here in southeastern Queensland, Australia, and say Namo Tassa Bhagavato, and it gets translated. Another voice happens, which is a voice from Northern California responds. That's just amazing how that all works. So we have friends today from Ukiah, California, from Malaysia, from Brisbane, from Talmadge, Campbell, California, Hong Kong, Alameda, Saratoga, Heilongjiang, Montreal, San Jose, Oregon, California, Indonesia, Malaysia, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, New York City's Chinatown, Singapore. Oh, Maggie and Chloe are listening. Okay, glad about that. Hope you like it. Bay Area, Los Angeles, St. Petersburg, Mesa, Elk Grove, Oklahoma, Alameda, Oakland, and Virginia. Also Sydney, Xingfei and Bernie are here. Good. Let's see now. Then we switch over to this half of the world, and we have friends listening in from Beijing, Baotou, that's Inner Mongolia, Harbin, Manchuria, Shandong, Guangzhou, Liaoning, Dalian, Xini, oh, 澳大利亚, Tianjin, Heilongjiang, Xi'an, Heilongjiang, 很多东北人哈，浙江南海、陕西宝鸡，福建，泉州，吉林，师傅那里哈，那个安徽，有安徽济南，还有北京，河北唐山，湖北黄冈，云南昆明 ，OK， 北京虚脑和尚刚刚在昆明哈，哈尔滨，浙江、江苏、珠海，哈尔滨广东，Let's see here， 还有哪里？就是浙江，黑龙江、苏州、江苏 and 河南。All right, so make the point that we are all over China and all over the world listening to Master Empty Cloud's incredible story. So here's the situation. Here we are. This was last week's story. People who were here listening in will remember that our teacher is in Yunnan province, down in the far southwest of China. And he's been doing superhero things, traveling with a Buddhist canon, with the Tripitaka, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles by boat, by mule back, by horseback, and to get this incredible collection of the Buddha's wisdom all the way from Beijing down to Rangoon to Bangkok, Thailand, and then up to Malaysia, and then up to Yunnan province. And it's just because there's many, many boxes, and of course if it rains, it will be spoiled. If they get robbed, they'll lose pieces of it, and then it's not complete. None of those things happen. Master Empty Cloud's blessings carried the expedition with 1,000 men and hundreds of horses all the way to Jizushan, Chickenfoot Mountain, where Venerable Mahakashyapa is said to be waiting for the right time to emerge again. So lots of Buddhist teaching and legends centered around Yunnan province and Jizushan, Chickenfoot Mountain. So here he is. Now, what happened last week, something totally unexpected. He got 2 letters from home. Letters from home. His fundamental emotional issue has caught up with him. Now, he is 71 years old. He's already awakened, famously. He's done the 3 Steps, 1 Bow pilgrimage. He's nearly died several times. And he has completely reformed the Buddhist culture of Yunnan province, where situation was wild and reckless. Monks were being thrown in jail. Monasteries were being confiscated. Buddha images were being melted down. All of this lawless behavior. And Master Empty Cloud was able to, through his kindness and through his renyuan, his affinities with people, he was able to go to the Forbidden City in Beijing and talk the emperor, going through channels, which is to say you have to get the right officials on your side, the ones that are currently in favor. You have to, it's like Game of Thrones in real life. The alliances turn and change very quickly without warning. So because of his virtue and his kindness and his willingness to put his life on the line over and over again for goodness and for justice. So wherever he goes, people help him. People extend themselves to do his good works. So they got an imperial edict, a law that came down from the emperor to tell the corrupt officials in Yunnan to shape up and stop destroying Buddhism in Yunnan province. So this one skinny monk who was a vegetarian his whole life long was able to change the customs and in a far distant part of China and bring things back to turn black back to white, turn injustice back to a rule of law. So, wonderful story. Now, these letters come. Last week we read one of the letters. The story goes, his stepmother, because his own mother died in childbirth, his stepmother took his 2 wives with whom he did not consummate marriage, but he arranged for them to be protected in the eyes of society, gathered into his family, the Xiao family. The 3 of them, the stepmother and the 2 wives, when Master Empty Cloud's father died of a broken heart, they all became Buddhist nuns. They all entered the Sangha. His stepmother cultivated to a level where she knew her time of death before it arrived. And she prepared, and she recited the Buddha's name while sitting in full lotus and went off to the Pure Land peacefully. And that fact was so startling that people wrote verses about it and then put them into stone. She left a poem. In fact, she left 2 poems. And her enlightenment departure poem, as she went off to rebirth, was captured on a stone stele. Everybody know the word S-T-E-L-E, a stele. That's a rock that's prepared to receive Chinese characters, a memorial rock. So that's how important the mother is. Now, he knows about this because his second wife, whose name was Miss Tan, wrote after the mother passed away and went to the Pure Land. His wife, whom he has not seen for 50 years, writes him a letter telling him about his stepmother and about his first wife, who also died. So that was what we read last week, that letter, and it's emotionally wrenching to the max, because here's the classic crisis. When a son or daughter wants to leave home, rarely is it smooth sailing with the family. Most often, it's a painful moment. So now this has caught up to him. This famous Buddhist monk out in Yunnan province gets the news from his second wife, who is also a bhikshuni, whose name is Qingjie. All right? So what I thought we might do today is start out with another one of those letters, which the letter written by his, here we go, right here. The letter written by his second wife, the former Miss Tan. And here we go, right here. She, the way she writes, now I'll show you, the original letter is much bigger than this. It's much longer. And we're only going to do a portion of it, but it's, now this is a woman who was promised to Master Empty Cloud's brother, but then he died before they could be married. So she became a second wife to Master Empty Cloud, but he had already resolved to leave the home life. So he made a deal with her that they would stay pure so that he could leave home with a clean conscience. And yet she was protected and gathered in and loved by the family. Father died, she left home, and you can see by how she writes, all was not at peace. Are we ready? Cliff, if I could ask you, our translator, to maybe just quickly read the Chinese, starting here, and I'll scroll. Chinese readers can read and listen, and then we'll get to the English. Okay, starting with the 古谓大善无后。
古谓大善无后，君虽僧伽在世，然顿觉两寺香烟，虽是菩萨度尽众生，未免使愚迷谤无孝义。吾本于孝义有亏，常慕君之灵根深厚，是至昂世间。若莲花之不染污泥，又何必远离香景，顿忘根本？吾之所以痛苦成书者，特为此也。去冬，宣统元年乙酉岁12月初8辰时，姨母王氏即比丘尼妙净告辞西归，在弥留时，家夫说偈。
这是上个礼拜我们听到的，呀，就是他两个偈颂。
既见留寂寂碑中，寂毕连氏己事，异香数日，端坐微微，俨然如生。嗟乎！事虽梦幻，牧人也感涕矣。今既数语，使之家中事务，信道之日，速请速装就道，万物迟疑言，并将复国一同回家，不往清洁，清可翘寂，洁尽淤尘，是无所深信也。况兹圣教凋零，属下风俗，君岂不知？夫其我师如迦摄尊者，放紫金光，同作法侣，满腔蓄泪，尽行一望也。比语千万难尽，意义在不言中，非朝非夕，盼倒无涯矣。 素此敬起慈安，除其秉见不宣。
Okay. So, this is what she said. The ancients, this is the letter, okay? The ancients said, the greatest goodness leaves no descendants. You, although reborn as a monk, had thus cut off the incense of 2 ancestral shrines. Though you are a bodhisattva who delivers all beings, the ignorant will slander, saying you lack filial regard. I myself am already deficient in filial duty, but I've always admired your deep spiritual roots and lofty resolve, as the lotus that remains unstained by the mud. But why must you far leave your native village and forget your origin entirely? She's basically scolding him, right? This grief is the very reason I write to you today. But she's talking directly from her heart. Last winter, in the year of the rooster, 1909, on the 8th day of the 12th month at the hour of 7 a.m., Our Lady, our aunt, Lady Wang, Bhikshuni Miaojing, the stepmother, announced her departure to the west. At her final moment, she sat cross-legged and spoke a verse. That's what we heard last week. When the verse ended, she closed her eyes and passed away in stillness. A wondrous fragrance lingered for several days. She sat upright, serene and majestic, as if alive. Ah, though this world is a dream, even one of wood and stone would be moved to tears. Even someone made of wood and stone. Now I send these few words so that you can know the affairs of home. When this letter reaches you, please pack your things and return without delay. Do not linger. Of course, he won't. Bring Fuguo, your brother, with you as well. He didn't. If I, Qingjie, may see you again, it would fulfill my deepest wish and devotion. Moreover, in these days the holy teachings decline, and the customs of Chu and Xia grow coarse. How could you not know of this? I pray, my teacher, my husband, that like the Venerable Kashyapa, you will emit golden radiance and guide your Dharma companions. My heart is filled with tears. My whole being gazes toward you. 1,000 words cannot express my thoughts. Their meaning lies beyond speech. Day after day, night after night, I wait and pray without end. Now, so, with utmost respect, I bow to inquire after your well-being and humbly beg your compassion and understanding for this unworthy letter, right? So it's like, here he is. He's changing the culture in Yunnan province, carrying the emperor's, law and cracking down on the corrupt monks. And here's his former wife saying to him, come home now. Right? What's he going to do? If it was you, can you imagine getting this pull on your heartstrings? Okay, so she also writes 2 verses. Her verse goes, right? 君亦鸿雁别故乡，从小独自向南乡。可怜，可怜，可怜，可怜，同我爱爱侣，万里秋风续恨长。You, like a wild goose, left your native land. Alone you soared southward into the sky. Pitiful, the mate left in the empty nest. 10,000 miles of autumn wind prolong her grief. I mean, right? No slouch at Chinese poetry. 望断天边月，泪泉泻满情。我妻湘江上，竹恨已成斑。君必成大道，慧业日当心。其实火斋绿，眼是法成清。I gaze to the edge of heaven for the moon, tears welling and flooding my eyes. I live now beside the Xiang River, bamboo shadows already streaked with age. You will surely accomplish the great way, your wisdom growing brighter each day. We who once shared the burning house of life are now kin in the city of Dharma. respectfully written with tears and prostrations by the nun disciple Qingjie of Guanyin Mountain, Xiangxiang, on the 19th day of the 7th month, the year of the metal dog, 1910. So there you go. I mean, this is, now, this is not in the picture biography, right? Everybody understands. But this is in the Nianpu. It was appended, it was added in to the Nianpu, the autobiography, by the authors who compiled it. So these are not the words of Master Empty Cloud. These are, Shifu selected from this and just said, Master Empty Cloud received 2 letters. But now we've read the letters, we understand the challenge of being this monk with a mission. He's got challenging, difficult, world-changing, significant jobs to do, and yet the reality of leaving the home life is always there, both in the family of the one who said goodbye to their son or daughter, and in the heart of the one who wants to become a Buddha and take across 9 generations of ancestors by realizing the Tao. So, big deal. It's not easy, is it? And I think my decision to include these letters is to say these are real people really doing Dharma. And there's a price you pay when you leave home. And if anybody had, the promise is always that if you can, so the accusation in the letter is, by leaving home, he is 无逆不孝. He's deeply unfilial. He's turned his back on his family and his proper duty as a son. From the Buddha's time to the present, we say, 一子得道，九祖成仙. If a child can realize the way, the virtue of that takes 9 generations of family across away from suffering into joy and into suffering's end. So it's not for everybody, but if you can, that's the price. And so if anybody has paid that price, it's Master Empty Cloud, who has he's a hero for Buddhists within 200 years of his life. The goodness of his, the wholesome echoes of his effort are still, the reverberations are still flowing into the present. So there you go. And this really gives us a chance to add color to the black and white outlines in a biography, particularly when it's, with black and white line drawings, literally black and white. But the biography can often be sort of like looking at a sketch, when we can add the color, the heart, the flesh, the blood, the tears, and the joys from the real people doing real things, then it takes on extra dimensions, and it's a better story. Okay, there we go. Here is today's new story, something quite incredible. It's 71 years old. It's 1910. The Empire of China has 1 year left before the last emperor abdicates his throne, and Sun Yat-sen, Sun Yat-sen announces the Republic of China. So 1 year left, 1911 is when that incredible event took place. So here we go. The name of this episode is 老栗树开昙花, witnessing Udumbara flowers bloom on an old chestnut tree. Okay, it goes like this. 供应各僧, one more time. 供应各僧伽及坛乐，请讲楞严经，生作说法记，庭前老栗树， 湖涌开油波贪花数十朵，大如盆，形如芙蕖，似如黄金，含香吐乳，中空体节，盛开数月，而不猥亵。见者皆称其意，叹谓曾有。The master responded to an invitation by many members of the Sangha and benefactors to explain the Shurangama Sutra. When the master took a seat and began to explain the Dharma, the ancient chestnut tree in front of the hall suddenly blossomed, sending out dozens of clusters of Udumbara flowers. They were big as a wash basin. They were shaped like peonies with a golden yellow color. The flowers emitted an unusual fragrance. They were empty in the middle. Their shape was elegant. They bloomed luxuriantly for several months and did not wither. Everyone who saw them pronounced it a marvel and entirely unprecedented. Okay, here they are out in the courtyard in nature. There's laity, there are monks, military men, looking at an old chestnut tree with these Udumbara flowers. Udumbara flowers they're called, the phrase is Tanhua Yixien. The Udumbara flower blossoms once in 1,000 years, is the way the idiom goes. Meaning what? Meaning rare, really rare, Tanhua Yixien, as rare as an Udumbara flower. So these are semi-legendary, that is to say, there are flowers among the plant kingdom that have been called Udumbara. They're not the way these are described. These are described as really, really huge and special. So, Tanhua Yixien. Let's see what Shifu wrote for his verse, and then we'll come back and talk about what an Udumbara flower might be. 老树通灵现妙供，志同仰首望鲜花，僧伽闲说其花蕊，贪悦归敬圣菩提。A little magic by the ancient tree brought forth miraculous offerings, as the youngsters turned their heads to gaze at the supernatural blooms. All the Sangha members together agreed that the flowers were special and rare. That should be the flowers. While lay donors took refuge with sublime Bodhi. All right, now what do you call this? You call it a miracle. This is a miracle thing happening. That is to say, science has no explanation for why on a chestnut tree, particularly a withered old chestnut tree, these rare flowers would bloom. So what could cause it? There's nothing happens without a cause. So the Buddhist answer would be, it's the virtue of the teacher. It's Master Empty Cloud's personal conduct, his reputation, his actual, the light shining from his uncovered Buddha nature is what can cause even the natural world to respond. Okay, now this is a lecture by a Buddhist monk about a Buddhist monk listened to by Buddhist disciples. We pretty much would go, yet another miracle. There's a lot of folks who would go, oh, come on. What's the relationship between a monk lecturing on the Shurangama Sutra and Udumbara flowers blooming? What's an Udumbara flower? Where are they, right? So, yeah, I understand that. All the same, these are very sane, very rational people reporting an event that actually happened. This is not long ago and far away. This happened in 1910 And there were news reporters there were generals, there were upstanding people who are no fools, who saw these incredible flowers appear on the tree. So from here on, now we're in 148, there's only 52 more stories to go before we're done. That is to say, now mind you, however, he's got 50 more years of life to go, and he's 71 years old now. He's, from here on out, more and more of the stories have to do with miracles. That is to say, things that by any other explanation shouldn't be happening are happening. And he has already, he has established his virtue. And understand, remember that for our school, our Buddhist school, awakening happens not by getting anything, but by getting rid of things. What he has gotten rid of through his hard work in the way, he's gotten rid of the things that cover his nature. He's gotten rid of ignorance, he's gotten rid of opinions, he's gotten rid of biases and blindnesses and the self. He's already Cheng Dao, he's attained the way, that's the language that we use. And as a result, when that ignorance is transformed into and melted back into the virtue of his nature, everywhere he goes, he's shining, he's radiating this goodness. So it's not that he got something, it's what he got rid of that is now sparking, catalyzing these responses with the world around him. So, yeah, it's a miracle, but if you would say it's not him, anybody who did what he did could also move nature to respond in this way. So it's another way to say this is miracles like this still are within cause and effect, but the causes that we're witnessing are what are called sheng yin, 就有sheng guo. They're special causes, rare, because most people don't take the time or the effort, or they don't have a method to transform that ignorance that covers over the rest of us, our nature. So that's one way to explain this. It's still within cause and effect. It's still a function of there's a reason why the Udumbara flowers blossomed, but it's a rare and special event. And notice he has just read a letter about his stepmother, who at the time of her death knew when it was coming and was able to prepare for it and predicted it. So there's another kind of, science has a hard time with that. And yet she was not afraid, she was not angry that life was ending. None of those things, none of those typical emotions that surround the greatest mystery of our lives, which is when we're going to die and where we go. We just don't know. But she did. How is that possible? So it's possible because she cultivated the Buddha's teachings and realized the way. So remarkable how these events take place. We've got another miracle that happened up here with our ox. Remember the ox? The ox that asked to take refuge, running from the butcher, and behaved like a human after receiving the 3 refuges. And further, the butcher, witnessing his cow behave sentiently, dropped his butcher cleaver and said, I want to take refuge too. So here's another remarkable event. So from here on, at age 70, most of the things that happen from now on kind of fly in the face of science. And yet there's nobody there who saw them that would say, oh, well, this is a joke. It's not really true. We're just trying to sell books, right? So Yeah, these people who witnessed it said, yep, that's what happened. So Brian gave us a wonderful song memorializing the cow taking refuge and the butcher being crossed over. I've massaged some of the text. So the tune is not ready yet, but I'll show you where this verse has gone. He carried the Tripitaka on the road from Mandalay, from Burma back to China, reciting all the way. Then Master Empty Cloud stopped to rest at Wanshou, where early one morning we saw a miracle occur. Chorus, O compassion sees our bodies are the same. O great kindness vows to end all beings' pain. In the Buddha hall he heard the cry, a cow begged for its life. The runaway sought refuge from the heartless butcher's knife. The cow begged for compassion that he might just survive. Tears fell from frightened eyes as the butcherman arrived. O compassion sees our bodies are the same. O great kindness vows to end all beings' pain. Master Empty Cloud said, violent death is harsh and cruel. If you wish to escape your fate, take refuge with 3 jewels. The grateful cow nodded its head, knelt down, and then he bowed and accepted 3 refuges from Master Empty Cloud. O compassion sees our bodies are the same. O great kindness vows to end all beings' pain. The master said he'd buy the cow from the startled butcher, who was so moved by what he saw that he took refuge too. The butcher dropped his cleaver and on the spot began to cultivate non-harming, a new vegetarian. O compassion sees our bodies are the same. O great kindness vows to end all beings' pain. Suffering's unavoidable for creatures great and small, but like the raft in a raging storm, 3 jewels save us all. Like a ship in a raging storm. There we go. See the world with great compassion, live by the golden rule. Skin or feathers, fur or fins, harm comes back to you. O compassion sees our bodies are the same. O great kindness vows to end all beings' pain. So that's where we're still working on it. We'll get a good melody to work it. Appreciate that verse. We could have another Udumbara flower verse, I suppose. So Udumbara flowers, here's the idea, Tanhua Ishen. They say that it becomes in Chinese, it's just a chengyu, it's an idiom meaning how rare. It's as rare as the Udumbara flowers that bloom once. Now, we have a flower both in California and also here in Australia. I've got one right in front of my house that is Tanhua. It's called the night blooming cereus, Cereus. It's also called the orchid cactus. And they're really rare and special. I first met one from a Vietnamese layman who was also a horticulturalist. He grew up and really had some wonderful flowers, including orchids and things. And one day, he came rushing over from San Mateo down in the peninsula near the San Francisco airport. And he said, Vasher, he says, I've got it in the back seat. It's going to bloom tonight. Call your friends. What's this? He said, oh, it's the Tanhua, the night blooming cereus. It's going to bloom tonight. Call everybody. So we did. We called all the local community, and everybody came out. They took a nap and then came out at night. And we got flashlights. And sure enough, this night blooming cereus popped its blossoms open in the middle of the night. It started at sunset, and by midnight it was fully bloomed. fully opened, and there was an amazing fragrance. And then, as the hours wore on, it closed. And that's it. One night is all this flower bloom. I wonder if we can find any. Let's take a look here. Night blooming cereus, Cereus. Night blooming cereus. Let's see. Get some images. There it is. There it is. Okay. Gardeners will recognize this, right? Here it is. Yola, huh? Right? There it is. And this is fully bloomed. Sometimes they go like 2 days, but there it is, wide open. But you come out in the morning and it's gone. One night only. That's it. Night blooming cereus. And so the Vietnamese layman who brought his flower over, when he saw it was going to bloom that night, that was the night, he said in Vietnam, where these flowers are celebrated, they have Udambara flower watching parties. And everybody gets their best wine out and gets their, music and dancing. And as the flower blooms, it's considered to be extremely rare and very auspicious. So I think they're... now, the question is the Udumbara flower that Master Empty Cloud witnessed miraculously on a tree that it wasn't related to? It was a chestnut tree, and the flower just picked that tree to come and bloom. So the Udumbara flower is a little bit, you say, it's a spiritual presence, and I think they're different. I believe the Udumbara and let's see here. Okay, Bernie says they have the cereus growing in the backyard too in Sydney. Okay, wonderful flowers, they are indeed. So is that the Udumbara flower? I think because the night blooming cereus flower has this habit. So they borrowed the Chinese idiom tanhua to describe it, because it blooms once and it's over, like that. You have to look quick. Mostly people wake up in the morning and discover that it had opened last night. Oh, we missed it. It was open. Oh, too bad. So you have to keep your eye on them. That's probably why it got the name Tanhua, the Chinese name of the Udumbara flower. The actual Udumbara flower that bloomed as a response to Master Empty Cloud's virtue is not the same. Different kind of flower. So anyway, that's in the world, we've got something similar, but the night blooming cereus doesn't bloom according to a cultivator's virtue, for sure. So anyway, there we are. Now, there's more to the story. We'll catch up to the Udumbara flower next week a little bit, because there's one more episode that was inserted into the autobiography by a later writer who witnessed Master Empty Cloud's Udumbara flower miracle. We'll get to that next week. So we're going. That's it for today. Appreciate everybody's kindness in tuning in. We're going to dedicate merit and hope everyone is very sincere as we send out this goodness to the world. Often the world can seem sort of like a stick of dynamite with the fuse burning towards it, and we don't know how long the fuse is, how long we have before the dynamite explodes. So, and we're in a time when we have nuclear weapons, and one mistake could, it's not like before when we didn't have the capacity to destroy the world with a single explosion, but we do now. So I take these dedications of merit very seriously and send out my wishes with sincere thought to keep the world in one piece. So I'd like to invite you all to make your dedication wish, however you would care to do so. Here we go. May every living being, our minds as one, live on. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and may this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. All right, and before we end, we're going to give everybody a chance to bow to Guanyin Pusa. She is right here. Please join me if you care to. Make 3 bows. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week. Amitofo. Bye now.